Hello, I have hands full of gesso today, but I'm going to make some altered bingo cards with using some Tyvek for some flowers. And if you want to come along with me, that'd be great. You need some Tyvek. These are some envelopes I get on Amazon. I also get the full sheets that I use to support my journal spines. So we're going to be using these, some underlayer here just for the base, and you've seen me use little pieces of scrap paper. It's a great way to use up your scraps. Get some of that for the underneath, and some gesso and Mod Podge and Tyvek. So what I did, let me show you real quick. I just took, and I've already tried to do this video, I've just taken my envelopes, cut the tops off, and I used the tops because I didn't want the font on there. So I cut the tops off. Let me show you what I've done with them, if I can grab them without a huge collapse. There we go. And I just took the ends, secured this, made little tucks from them. So I've got a ton of them because I just took a day and I just played around and colored a bunch. I used acrylic paints, sprays, oxide, stains, all the goodies. And I just made little tucks for my journals. This is before the ink or the embellishment on it. Let's see if I can get that open. There it is. Little tuck. Made the flap part of the bigger envelope. I'm going to just sew up and down this a little bit, or cut them in half and make them little envelopes, and of course add embellishments and maybe some color on there. One of my goals this year is to use more color, and with spring and summer coming up, I think I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm using some old bingo cards. I have just some vintage ones. I love this aqua color here. The black and white are good too. And mostly I played with these so far. I've had these in my stash for quite a while. They had a little sheen to them, so I put a clear coat of gesso on the top and let that dry fully. I've also just sanded some of them instead of the gesso, whatever. But I use Tyvek, like I said, in my spines and my journals, but I've also used bigger pieces like this. This is stuff that I've done, a year or two ago. And that one I'm saving for a mermaid beach journal that I'm doing. It's got a little sparkle to it, but I can see little pieces using it and having little starfish in it and such. That would be fun, little shells. And I used the pink for my doll journal. I think I used a piece like this and other things. So I've been using Tyvek for quite a while in this way. Now one warning is that you're melting a plastic type thing, so fibers in it. So you want to open up the window for ventilation, use a mask as you see fit, watch your hands. I'm going to be using a heat gun, so any kind of silicone tweezers you have or a silicone to hold the piece down while you're melting it is ideal. So just a precaution, use all your necessary safeguards. So I'm going to set that aside. What I've made are all these luscious flowers. Now I cut circles, so that's what this would be made from. And I've also used a die for the Tim Holtz flower die, just to see how it would work. And the petals, oof, that's bright. The petals curled up so much that you almost can't tell. I'm going to save that one and put one in front of it and stuff like that. But I liked both. I really honestly did. It's just a different look. I've done some stamping, some gesso on some pieces. Didn't curl some pieces fully. Others I did a lot more. So let's get to the prototypes. So this one is prototype number 1. So I used underlayment. I've also used my Stabilo around there. A little bit of stitching. I thought leaving the threads would be good because of her hair. That's my focal point. And also these little flowers that I added just a little sprig of something in the center. And did a little bit of gesso touch up on this, a little skeleton leaf. So I think it just turned out super pretty. And you know, I'm gonna be using color more, like I said. I'm in the mode of the fairy fantasy mode right now for probably for the next month or two, I don't know. I am doing a grungy journal. Yes, I am. So I will do a flat bingo card for a journal card for something like that. And the back I've just left like this. The second one I've done are the Tyvek. I've just cut into heart shapes and I've doubled them. And of course it is colored already, pre-colored, because you're going to do that and let it dry first. Get my little focal point, outlined her, made some fun little circles with the cap of a glue stick, dipped in some black gesso. It does have some underlayment, so there's great texture with the additional gesso on there. And then the back, I just put some handmade pink paper on it, and I like the way that it turned out. So hopefully you can gain some inspiration from this. Use what you have. Use up some of your bingo cards and grab some Tyvek. I get them, the big envelopes, by a pack on Amazon. Also the single sheets I do buy from Amazon as well. You could recycle an envelope that you received in the mail. I don't get stuff like that, so I buy my Tyvek, and I will try to remember to stick a link to what I purchased off of Amazon in the description box below. Okay, let's get started. So what I have done, because I've tried to do this video, look at my hands, obviously, a couple of times. So I just started to glue, used my Mod Podge. Let me grab my handy dandy brush and use my Mod Podge and just put some down. And just like in the previous videos of my altered things, it is important to use some form of medium when you're working with either art crayons, and I already have gesso on these, but when you're using, Mod Podge, when you're using different mediums, to have something that it's going to help you smooth things and it's going to help you move things the way that it should. I just added gesso to it, a couple of pieces. You could add more. Now for something like this black and cream, I would definitely be thinking in my grungy one a little bit more. Straighten it out a bit. See, and I'm just gonna set it aside to let it dry. The next would be, after that is dry, and you can use your heat gun for that or whatever, is to add a layer of gesso to it. All I do is take a little used gift card. This happens to be a Hobby Lobby one. I bet I used it within the first few seconds of getting it. But I don't have a Hobby Lobby close to me, so I really haven't been going. The one that was closest to me, a tornado hit, and that was pretty sad. Wiped it all out. So I just scrape like that. Here, we'll add a little more to this. I just use it and scrape it down, try to cover what I want in there. And then to add color, you can use acrylic paints, what I did, or watercolor, whatever you like. I got out my gelatos and my art crayons, which these are Marabou. I really like these. Here's some distress crayons, Tim Holtz. They are very well. I like those too. These are my little Faber-Castell gelato. And I used that for to fill in my circles. You could use a water pen, which I used, and just slightly wet the brush and blend it around. I don't have my water brush here, so let's just add some color. Now you could scrape it like I did. Once this fully dries, I'm going to add another color on top using the same technique as I did for the gesso with the card. Okay, so for this, if I get, let's see, just adding a little color to it. Now, I don't have my squeegee by me, but I do have my water somewhere. Let me see. Here it is. And sometimes I just put a little spritz down there. And right now I'm just going around the edges of this to add a little bit of color and depth. I would just like going around a few of them. And it just adds a little something on there. Oh, I like that green. Like so. And just add color like that. Or if you're going to do circles, you could fill in the circles. And let me see what one I have. So this is my gesso that's already done on this. And if I was going to do a fairy one, I would definitely add some green. So let me get a nice... Hold on one second. I thought I had it here. Let's put a little bit down there. Grab my card again. Just playing around. Grab my there we go. Wipe my card off. Just get some color down whichever way you can. And I'm going to add the darker just all over. And I got my focal point that's going to be coming as well, so it'll cover up some of it. I really like that, how the green is meshing really well. So, I would slightly dry that with my heat gun. My well-loved heat gun. Sorry for the noise. It's not all the way dry, that's fine too. I'm going to set that aside. And I'll show you what I did. I made some leaf shapes. And little pieces like this, anything like that. So I just take my silicone. These are very large. But if if I didn't want the center fully curled, I would do something like this. And then take my heat gun. And I just use the low setting. I just feel like I have a little bit more control over it that way. And it's just going to start to bubble and curl up. Depending on how much shrinkage you want. And obviously just give it a few seconds. And there you have a curled up leaf. Now you could still take a flower like this where I didn't curl it up all the way. And just crunch it more. Like so. And put it down on your paper like that. So let me grab this back. Now I would and I'll still add the leaves on it and stuff, but What I would do is once this dries, I'm going to add a little bit of black to it. I'm going to add some stamping on it or something like that, because for me that's what I see when I see this. You can also do lines in your, you know, take the edge and do some lines, some different other textures. But I'm going to take my art glitter glue and just start putting on what I want. I'm imagining something like this on my fairy journal. Now I could add wings to it. Whatever. And I don't usually glue down edges. Like so. Like that, and just start building a design of a flower design or hearts or whatever you want to work with. Now if I didn't make this a fairy journal or whatever, I could put a flower like that on there and just add a little something in the center. It's just really fun. It's quick, it's easy, and I will again take all my finished products, or projects I should say, and I will put a picture on the community page once they are all done. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a really great day.